Hi all, thank you for joining me today. Candace Gillespie here from Candace'sCanvases.com. This is Fun Friday. Today we're going to make a small, medium, and large shadow box. They look something like this. This is an example of the one that we made, the ones that we made at our craft night that we have every week, once a week. Okay, we'll get started. So for the large, we need a 10 by 12 and a 9 and 15/16 by 11 and 15/16 piece of cardstock. And just follow the scoring directions on the screen there. The next, for the medium, we'll need a 7.5 by 9 and a 7 and 9/16 by 9 and 1/16 piece. Two pieces of, and then the small shadow box measures 6 by 6, and one is 5 and 15/16 by 5 and 15/16. And just follow the scoring directions on all of those. So next, you'll take a ruler of some sort, and here I have a craft knife, and I'm going to cut out the inside square on the piece that we scored twice, if that makes sense. The piece on the right there, you see how it only has the one score line on either side, and the one I'm working on right now has the sets of score lines, one inside of another. So that we're going to do that because cutting out that window is going to give us a little window frame. Let me show you a little quick review here of the medium one. Just cutting out the inside. Okay. And then we'll fast forward through the big one, the largest one, and see how we just cut out that inside rectangle. Okay, the next step is to fold all of your score lines, well, the 1-inch score lines, that is, on all three boxes. And then you're going to snip at each end. You're going to snip up on the outside square and then move to the outside of it and snip out a little pie piece. Snip up this outside square here and move over to the outside and snip off a little pie piece. You never want to move to the inside and snip off pieces because that's what shows on the outside. So now that those are cut on opposite ends, we're going to just put some adhesive on these tabs. And make sure it squares up well at all four corners. So the top squares up well. If it wants to slide up a little bit, I make sure to press it down, but all the while keeping the side of it right there nice and squared also. Okay, so there's our lid. Now our base, it has the single score line on all four sides. You're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to fold and burnish all of your score lines on here. And snip up that square and move to the outside and snip a little piece out of it. Do the same thing on all four sides. Put some adhesive on all those little tabs. And then make sure you square up all of those corners. Not only is it important for the fit of the box, if it's nice and square, but aesthetically also you want to make sure it's nice and square. If this is, you're going to give it as a gift to someone, you don't want it to be misaligned and funky looking. Okay, go ahead and do that to all three boxes. And next we're going to take some designer series paper. This is the new Typeset designer series paper. It is gorgeous. You'll need 3 pieces. You'll need one that measures 7 7/8 by 9 7/8, one that measures 5 7/16 by 7, and one that measures 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Here I'm taking the Calypso coral and I'm going to distress all 4 edges and on all 3 pieces. So this is it's pretty quick. It goes by pretty quickly. The sponging anyway. Okay, once that's done being sponged, I'm just gonna put some adhesive on the bottom portion of my box here. And it doesn't have to be over every little space of it, but just enough that it's gonna hold it on all sides. Using my bone folder to just kind of smash the paper into the glue and then put your lid on. And so you'll see on the inside, you could see the shadow, and the Calypso coral also gives it a cool shadow effect too. Now I'm going to also sponge the exterior of this box, just like so. I sped it up for you. I know it kind of drags on sometimes. Okay. And then you're just going to finish off the next two pieces. Once that's done, here I am, almost done with it. I'm just setting it down on the largest one. I'm putting my lid on. It's already all nice and distressed. There's a couple things you can do with it. You can layer them all like this, and you can put a picture or a trinket in the center box, and you can mount them. You can glue them together like this and mount them on your wall like that. You can, put your center picture to look diagonally like this, tilt the box on the inside and leave the center box kind of straight. There's just lots of fun different things you can do with this. In the meantime, that's not what I'm going to finish doing with it. That's just an example. So for now, I'm going to use, to continue my project, I'm going to use the Flower Frenzy Bigz die. And I'm going to grab my Stampin' Trimmer and the Gold Soiree Specialty Designer Series paper. This stuff is gorgeous. And I just cut a bunch of pieces that would fit over all of the flowers on this die. And the area that didn't fit, I just, took a little strip of that paper and put it over the remaining part right there. Running it through my Big Shot. Just pushing it back for extra measure. Not necessary, but I did anyway. Okay, and now the reveal. You get to see all the little pieces that you've got. There are a ton of little pieces here. So what I did is I just organized it off to the left there in each pile, the coordinating flower shapes. And then I'll show you a couple different flower methods that I made. Now the first method is I kind of just stacked up some flower pieces, just seeing which shape that I want this particular flower to take up, and then I used a Stampin' Spritzer to spray water on these, and then I just kind of daubed up the excess and I flipped them over, and I sprayed water on them again, and then I stacked them all onto my piercing mat, paper piercing mat, and poked them with the paper piercing tool, and then put a brad in the center, and then crumpled them all up, and it gave it this really fun look. And then I used my Tombow glue to glue it in there. So here I'm kind of just doing the same thing. Another method is you can spray them and then crumple them and then stack them. The first method, we sprayed them, stacked them, and bradded them and then crumpled them. The second method, you can spray them, then crumple them, and then stack them. And then make sure you put your brad in the center, and then you can lift those up again. Lift up the petals. So here's the little 4x4 box, and I'm putting that flower right in the center, and I love the way that turned out. It is so cute. This would be so pretty for a little girl's nursery or even a little girl's room. You can use stars or things in masculine colors for a little boy's room. That would be so gorgeous. Here's the third method. Now I'm not spraying them at all. I'm just crumpling them. and then uncrumpling them, and they just have that tattered and worn look. And then you do the same thing. You stack them and you pierce them with your paper piercer. Now you can put just one flower or star or whatever kind of embellishment, and then put a picture and write a little story on a tag like this. That would be really cute, and kind of have your boxes, you know, in display, in a cute little display order. That's still not the end result I'm looking for. Here was what I did. I just ended up filling these boxes with every piece of those flowers that I could, and it turned out gorgeous. And that's the project today. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting, and visiting Candace'sCanvases.com to join my team or shop your heart out. We'll see you there. Have a great day. Bye.